So I just started this show. This is Transparency and Marathon. I just started this show because uh, um, these two people, um, Kyle Rittenhouse and Trayvon Martin, were trending on Twitter. And I remember 2012. I think that's when we had a no white guilt show. This is before there is a YouTube no white guilt channel on YouTube as of now, but we had it on Blog Talk Radio, and we did the Trayvon Martin case, and we did it during the last couple of days of the trial. I think it was when they both summed up their case. And then I think it was about maybe, I don't remember how many days, but those days, and we became the most popular show, conservative show, on Blog Talk Radio at that particular time. And we got lots of listens, and we got lots of people wanting to comment on the case. There were lots of opinions. And there was, in my opinion, a lot of hyperbole and a lot of emotional talk that really was that wasn't very substantive. And there were two people that came in. Gentleman was Sarge, who was a former police officer in New Jersey, I believe, and the other was Ruthie Titucci. And they both went through that case with a fine-tooth comb. And the New Jersey police officer, he was also a black man, by the way, he was adamant that George Zimmerman was innocent, and it was a clear-cut case of self-defense. And Ruthie Titucci talked about how young he looked, that he barely had hair underneath his arms, and that he was a very youthful young man who had been killed. And I'm not going to get into the whole thing of the case, but I'll sum it up on this. The difference between the Kyle Rittenhouse case and the people that he killed, and the George Zimmerman Trayvon Martin case was there is a video of Kyle Rittenhouse being attacked. There is no video of Trayvon Martin. And my question to the people that are listening to this: what are the parameters for self-defense in your eyes? What does a person have the right to do to defend themselves? Do you believe that a person can kill another person with their bare hands? Has that been proven? How often has it been proven? And let's also say in the video of Kyle Rittenhouse, he was not pursued by people that were unarmed. They did have a firearm, and the other person had a skateboard, which would be used as a weapon. So I'm going back and forth in my analysis, but it is kind of discouraging to me how people make a lot of what I feel are very emotional theories on this and not logic and reason. That's what I'm seeing. Now, Joe, I'm going to get his take on this. So I'll let him give his 2 cents in. Joe?
It's probably a dangerous maneuver to hand the mic over to me during a story such as these. You've mentioned two names, and I think you are 0 for 2 as far as people who truly exist in this world. We got the Kyle Rittenhouse, and we got old Trayvon Martin. I think both of these stories are I think both of these stories have had a strange impact. These media creations have certainly done a number to many people, and whether or not they exist is probably even a moot point, or ever did, for that matter. It's a moot point. What truly counts is the legislation and the trials that occur because of these two stories. And if you think that this is, a new thing, a lot of people point to Obama for some of his changes into that he made in as far as what the media can and cannot portray to its citizens, to its peoples. It really doesn't matter to me, though. What these stories in and of themselves are truly dangerous on one level, but on another level, completely meaningless. So that's just where I stand. And I know that's a little bit opaque, maybe a little bit might be unclear, but people who know what I'm talking about, they understand that the ideas of where I come from. I think it's crystal clear what I'm trying to express without setting off certain alarms. So that's about it. But I am interested in your take on them because I know you enjoy these stories for some reason. God only knows. But yeah, that's about it. I'm very jaded, if you can't tell.
Well, certainly there is perception about reality and what is real. These stories are real. I mean, they are real to me, and they come across as real and authentic. And two human beings have lost their lives. I mean, a few human beings have lost their lives within these recent stories. And Trayvon Martin was the start of Black Lives Matter. People think it was, there are a lot of people who think it was the Michael Brown incident, but that's what grew, like where the riot started and stuff. But it was Trayvon Martin where the thought of Black Lives Matter began. And there has been so much rewriting and reshaping of this story over time that it's I guess for some people it's rather hard to like it's kind of baffling to me because at the time a lot of people were like, yeah, that's kind of a close cut case of self-defense, and there's just so much like manipulation out there. There is another recent document on the Trayvon Martin George Zimmerman trial, and it concerns, God, I can't even remember her name, but um, no, I can't. But this character, Diamond.
Marge Shot. Is it Margie Shot?
No, that's not Margie Shot. But God, now I got to look at the case here. I forget her name, but she was a rather large woman. But she said she went by the name Diamond Eugene, and she was the main person who the case was put on, and that wasn't her real name, but that's she said that was her nickname, because I think that was in the cell phone records of Trayvon. And it turns out that there is a real Diamond Eugene, and it wasn't the person that had testified before trial. And the fact that this whole evidence is not put out there. I also want to say that Oscar winner and activist Viola Davis calls for a boycott of racially biased publications like the New York Post. She pointed out coverage of Kenosha killer Kyle Rittenhouse versus the headlines after Trayvon Martin was murdered. And it sounds like hyperbole to me. And yeah, it just sounds like a lot of hyperbolic nonsense that's going out there. And you know, there's been a lot of talk about a peaceful divorce, and I'm beginning to think that that is a solution, is a way to split up the country into people that think the way a lot of individuals think. Because I don't think there could be coexistence with people who have an alternative reality. And if we, can people exist who do not have a shared reality on things? And I don't think that's a possibility, Joe. And I think in this country, there are people out there with a different reality than they don't have a shared reality.
But there is but one reality, unfortunately, there for them. There is but one. And people have that their blinders on, but they for the people who don't are not blind to this fact that there is a I guess in quotation marks, a reality that is set over what is reality. There are people who see the fiction, and I'm not alone. This may sound a little bit of a inflammatory sort of viewpoint. I'm not alone. And the problem is a lot of people like me have been shut. And the reason you don't see more shows with people that share my views, they've all been taken down off of YouTube. And then when you go to another website, here's the problem. You go to an alt website that isn't this one, and they're streaming their shows on there, and they put their shows and their material on there. What happens is then you have a whole cluster bomb of people who are sharing more radicalized views, but not necessarily the viewpoints I share, and that includes, where do you think all of the controlled opposition is going to go? It's going to go to those. They can create muck very easily online, is what I'm saying. muck can be created anywhere. And I think that's what we're seeing now. So it's going to be difficult to decipher. And if you go to one of the alt sites and there's all these sites, all these videos that immediately you look at them and you're like, oh, no wonder these people got kicked off of YouTube. They've, and they're posting some really wild ideas. Those are not necessarily the ideal ideas that I have, but a lot of the people, like I said, and still some other people. There's other people that post out there who don't get censored off of Facebook for presenting truth, and I'm telling you, the numbers are so slim now because there's a lot of inflammatory things that get said, and there are people who are sharing ideas that are radical for places like Facebook. They're radical for places like Twitter. Twitter has this weird, I don't know what Twitter's policy is. It's bizarre. I don't understand their algorithm. You've gotten, I think you've gotten censored a couple times.
Yes.
I haven't on Twitter, but I'm pretty careful about what I tweet. But anyways, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to ask Joe, who shares your opinion, and do you think your opinion will ever be shared by a large mass of people? Because I don't see a large mass of humanity sharing the views that you have. And I mean, you'd have to have very compelling evidence.
I do
for your claim. Okay.
Every time I have fact. People don't want to listen to logic. It's clear that when people are spoken to directly and firmly, that they fly off the handle and say it's aggressive. It's aggressive. It's this. It's that. But honestly, the truth is so much more radical than any fiction I've seen. And all I know is when I hear it, it rings true, and it is a strong feeling. And I don't get the feeling that I get when I go to visit stories like these two stories, or I mean, there's a lot of examples. Now, by the way, I've also, you should be happy to know that I've come up with a theory. It's actually a law. It's called JP's Law. Do you want to hear it?
Go for it.
This is JP's Law. I'm JP. It's JP's Law of Misdescribed Theory. It's based on cosmological hoax, false flags, conspiracies. Okay. Any theory, and hear me out, because I'd like your opinion on it. I have it now posted on my website. Any theory that remains unproven for X number of years, okay, say the moon landing, gravity, JFK, Alec Baldwin shootings, is the visual representation of diminishing value and will therefore tend to be applied to the masses as propaganda in support of scientism. It's a loaded theory here, a loaded law. I'm sorry. But it's a law based on misdescribed theory. And
what is the motivation of the people? So you're saying that, in plain English, you're saying that these are hoaxes. If that's the case, what is the motivation for the people perpetrating these hoaxes?
Well, you're a great example of what the motivation is. You have been obsessed. Well, maybe a step short of obsessed, but you have been so into. I never knew you liked any of these stories, to be honest, until you started reporting on them, and then sometime about a year and a half ago, you went all out, and you've dedicated all of your shows to these theories. In my opinion, they're all theories, and in fact, I think they're all misdescribed theories. And so, what has it done? I think it's created division. It's created for you. It is entertainment. It's captured your mind, and it holds your mind. Entertain is to hold, to enter and hold, and ment is your mind. Now, that is part of the one of the laws that Obama signed in 2008, I believe, and it had to do with entertainment and what is not entertainment, and those parameters were expanded. Now, and don't quote me on that. Go do your own research, people. But in my opinion, Obama was just a little bit of a figurehead for these sort of things. This is something that's been going on for a very long time. That's why I mentioned JFK and the moon landings. Gravity is a theory for some reason. It's not a law. That makes me wonder. But I try not to get into I hope this show doesn't get canceled for this. I hope not. It's just my point of view. It shouldn't cancel your show because this is your opinions and
I'm just going further down the rabbit hole.
So yeah.
The people obsessed.
So this is the motive.
No, I want to go further into the motivation of these.
Yes.
That you believe.
Don't forget about legislation too. That's a huge.
You believe the people that you believe are making hoaxes. Okay, I'm just going down the rabbit hole. You believe that these. I do not believe they're hoaxes. By the way, I believe that they are real events.
You may want to use another word.
Okay, is the word hoax not allowed to be used on YouTube, or
yeah. I was just stating my theory, my law. Sorry, it keeps calling it theory, but
we'll cut to the chase. So you believe that these things,
did
not actually happen, and you believe the motivation is to have people obsess about them. Why would they want people? Why would they put stories out there so that people obsess? So people can obsess about them. Why, why would the masses do such a thing?
Why would the what?
No, I mean, I'm sorry. Why would people do such a thing? Why would they falsify? Why would they falsify death and death, killing and death? Why would they falsify such a story? You believe that human beings are that
human beings.
Like we're gonna put something there that didn't happen, and we're gonna put it out to the masses, and the people are gonna believe about it.
You're talking about who's doing it? What are you asking here?
Yeah, who's doing it? Who's the puppet master pulling the strings on human beings?
Well, that's a question I probably shouldn't answer. Here, I mean, this is a question maybe people need to research and look into, because we've been limited in what we can and can't say here on certain platforms. So to me, it's not even important anymore. So much.
Should we take this to Rumble? This part to Rumble, because that we can talk openly and honestly on.
Yeah, I think there's other platforms where I would be more comfortable with saying it, but certainly, it's no mystery that there's production companies, right? Production companies everywhere that make things. There's no shortage of people able and willing to create such monstrosities. You're asking a few questions there, so I'm not sure what you want answered there.
Well, I do believe that there's manipulation out there, but I mean, I think there's manipulation of motive, but I believe these events actually happened, and my contention is they're not really diving really deeply in to.
So you're not sick of having never seen it for yourself. You're going in blindly, right? You're going in blind.
I don't know, like in this case, there are things that I think are nonsense, and there are things that I think are not nonsense. I mean,
Wait. Where? What? I'm not sure. Like something you see in reality. Okay, that's a lot different. But you're talking to me something you see where? Because you are watching video representations. You're not seeing you. In other words, you need to recognize. You need to decipher what it goes into your eyes and into your brain and what you're communicating. You need to know what you see, not believe, but you need to know with your eyes that what you are seeing is real and is based in our reality. And so if everything that enters your eyes is reality, it simply isn't the case. I have bad news for you. Not
Okay.
everything you see with
So
your own
the
eyes.
thing of it is, I don't have to see with my eyes.
Okay.
When there is a court case of somebody, so the courts are all being fooled. They don't, the court cases that Kyle Rittenhouse being charged with murder.
Mhm.
Is there such a person as Kyle Rittenhouse? Is there a real person called Kyle Rittenhouse? Is there a real person called Trayvon Martin, or is that a made up? Are those two made up people?
I've never met either of them. I don't know if you have, but I have not.
Is there a real person called John Wayne?
I have not met John Wayne. There's a lot of videos with him in it, though.
Yeah. So you have to meet somebody. Is there a real person called John Lennon?
You know what? By the way, as far as John Wayne goes, what's John Wayne's real name?
Michael Marion Morrison.
Okay, so you answered your own question there.
Okay. Was there a real person named Ronald Reagan?
I have you. Is that I don't. Do you know his real name?
Ronald Reagan. I think that's the way he was born. I don't think he changed his name like John.
I'm a big fan of Reagan. But I'm not going to, whatever. He was a president, and
I mean, do I have to see somebody in the flesh to think that they are? Reagan was a war criminal. Get out of here, High Ridge. Geez, Scotty.
Oh,
war criminal. Or was it George Bush that he thinks is a war criminal?
Scott's somehow for some reason Scott's avoiding me too.
Well, I mean,
Wow. So listen. Let's carry on. Let's stay on the path here because you're asking some better questions a moment ago. Go ahead.
You have a DM?
No. I'm asking you. You were asking me so when somebody says Kyle Rittenhouse is a murderer because he killed someone, it also doesn't matter what ideologies they have. See, I'm just saying, like, in my view, that's a dangerous comment. Right, in my view.
Yeah, I want to. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna address Master of Ropes thing. Kyle Rittenhouse is a murderer because So there's a difference between killing and murder. He is a killer. He did kill somebody, But did he murder?
That is up for dispute in my mind. I'm just saying.
That is absolutely up to dispute. And to me, it looks very much like it was that he killed somebody in self-defense. And I said this also. If somebody initiates force, what rights does that other person have to meet force? Does the person...
Well, here's the danger. You ask for a motive, and when you see these cases and they go through, there's legislation and there's all these side stories and media portrayals, and there's recreations of the recreations, and then there is sociological impacts, and there's all of these issues start piling up. So when you ask me the motive, I look at all of those things as potential motives for why I feel the way I feel about a case like the Rittenhouse case or the Trayvon Martin case. And Trayvon, I'll admit that one took me a minute. That took me a while to really kind of figure out what happened in my view. Anyways, sorry. Go on. You're making a point. Go for it.
Well, again, for me, we're talking about the right of self-defense. Who makes those rights? What is the right of the person who is threatened or encroached upon, who is assaulted, not even battered, but assaulted? What rights does that person have? Again, I mean, there are a lot of people who believe that once somebody crosses the non-aggression principle and becomes aggressive, however that person responds cannot equal what that one person just did, the aggressor did. Because they just took things from 0 to 1,000. And that is the issue. And people make race an issue or this the issue. But to me, it is an issue of the right of self-defense. And do the people who believe in a strong right of self-defense, do they want to live next to people who are wishy-washy in that and have different standards of conduct for different people? How do you know? Okay, I'm gonna. You know what? Since Joe and I are on two different pages, I'm going to invite Master of Rope here to see that he was just playing cowboy. Master of Rope, you are invited to defend yourself that Trayvon Martin was playing cowboy. If you have the gumption to come on and make your statement. And I want you to prove it. And where's your proof? Anyway, I doubt he'll come on, but I'd like to hear his evidence.
Well, do we need more evidence? Do we need evidence on something that maybe didn't even transpire?
Has he come on yet? No, he hasn't. He has not.
In the Trayvon case, Zimmerman was just playing cowboy.
Yeah. Where's your proof? Where's your proof that he was just playing cowboy? Okay. All right. Where's your proof that he was just playing cowboy?
It's just my opinion. I don't have proof.
Okay.
I like it.
Let me ask. Okay. Let me ask you. How did you form your opinion on that?
Based on how he killed Trayvon, that's why. Because the guy wasn't even a threat, and I feel like he was just playing cowboy, aka playing judge, jury, executioner. It's not okay to be doing.
So he was not a threat to George.
I don't believe he was a threat. No.
So you don't believe that he assaulted George Zimmerman?
No, I don't. And George Zimmerman is not a reliable source. to believe anything he says. He was quite abusive with one of his wives.
Okay. Will that hold up in a court of law?
Probably, because depending on the jury you have, the jury will probably just say he's guilty if you have the right type of jury, depending on who your lawyer is.
The jury found him innocent. And the jury found that he was defending himself. That it was self-defense. And there is belief that George Zimmerman followed Trayvon Martin in his car, and then he took chase, ran after him, and then the police, the dispatcher said, "We don't need you to do that." And then as he was returning to his car, he was met by Trayvon Martin, and Trayvon Martin then cold-cocked him in the face and began to ground and pound him. And then George Zimmerman took his gun and shot him. I'm paraphrasing. I'm not sure like all the dynamics, but that's basically it in a nutshell, that he was basically being beaten, and then George Zimmerman got a hold of his pistol and shot him in self-defense. Now, what is your opinion of Kyle Rittenhouse?
I feel Kyle Rittenhouse, I don't like the guy. And also, he wasn't even an employee or security, so he shouldn't have been there to begin with.
Does he have the right to defend himself?
People have the right to defend themselves, but he had no right to be there is the thing.
Why didn't he have a right to be there?
There are riots going on. Really? There are riots going on.
So,
and and it's for personal safety reasons. Of course, you know that's going to happen. So
the mob
if you get attacked, so if you get attacked, that's on you.
So he doesn't have a right to defend himself. Since there are riots going on, he doesn't have a right to be there, and the mob is correct. Is that right?
I don't believe the mob's correct in what they're doing. No.
So why shouldn't he? Why shouldn't he be there? Why should we give in to mobocracy?
He's not a part of the security of any of the stores, and because of that, he shouldn't have been there. So just like police and security, they have the right to be there because they're trying to contain the problem.
Okay, he shouldn't have been there. Does that give the mob the right to attack him? Does he not have the right to defend himself if a mob attacks him?
He has the right, but he has the right to defend himself. The mob also has the right to attack because that's what they're doing. So, it's a riot. What do you expect? You should expect to be attacked. If you go somewhere that they're having a riot, you should expect to be attacked. And sure, you have the right to defend yourself, but it's your fault for going there to begin with.
So if I go to a riot, and I'm armed, and people come and attack me, so you're saying already that I have the right to defend myself from a group of people trying to attack me?
Yes, but you shouldn't have been there to begin with, though.
So the mob is allowed to rule the street and dictate terms.
That's not what I'm saying. Personnel that have to deal with the problem should be there, not you. Is that hard to understand? Like the police, security of the stores.
Okay, he was there. So him being there and him acting in self-defense, I mean, what should he be charged with for being there?
He probably will get a murder charge, though. Will probably be one of the lesser murder charges, though.
For what reason?
Somebody's dead. Okay?
Okay,
and it's out in the public. Like, for example, the castle doctrine, as you're thinking of. actually has to do with your house, not out in public, because I don't believe...
The stand your ground as well.
What state was he in? I don't think they have a stand your ground there.
I don't know. I don't think they do either, but he was being pursued and chased. So he was in flight. So he wasn't standing his ground. He was actually running away. And he was running towards law enforcement, and they pursued him. And I think they pursued him after he shot somebody, but it was that from my understanding, was also self-defense. Now, granted, you're probably right. He shouldn't have been there. But that doesn't mean he should be charged with murder when people are out to hurt him. And how do you think the police handled the riots? And how should they have handled the riots?
They should have been able to contain it. I guess they weren't. But that doesn't mean a normal citizen has the right to go there and try to play cowboy.
Why doesn't a normal citizen have the right to take up arms? Don't we have the right to bear arms and the right to have a well-regulated militia?
Ah, God. Yeah, you do, but I just find the fact that, I don't know, like, you at least have to follow some of the laws or you're going to end up in prison.
Well, they weren't following any of the laws.
Yeah, so they're probably going to get dealt with too, but the way the system is, it favors a certain type of people. And they usually let them get off.
Well, okay. So the mob should follow rules, but other citizens who want to stop it shouldn't. I mean, the mob doesn't have to follow any rules. Just the militia groups that are trying to stop it because the police are being unsuccessful. Is that correct?
I believe, like, the militia groups themselves, like, yeah, if you want to do that, you can. I'm not gonna stop you or call the police on you. You have the right to do what you want as a person, but what the law itself chooses to do to you is on you, because you're the one who chose to do that.
But again, so you don't think that the law should protect citizens to defend themselves and the right to bear arms?
Me personally, I don't agree with some laws, but I have to follow them because I don't want to end up locked up or have to deal with any other problems like that.
Do you believe in the right to bear arms?
Me personally, I'm not for guns, but yeah, if that's what you want to do, go ahead.
And do you believe that I have the right, or a person has the right to join a militia?
If that's what you want to do, go ahead. But
if there's a riot and the militia groups decide to go in, do they have that right?
Yeah, if that's what they want to do, they can.
And if a group comes near them and encroaches and means them harm, do they have the right to defend themselves?
Yes, but the law also has the right to do what they want to you for doing that.
Well, is the law to be just or unjust?
The law sometimes is unjust. It's never just, most of the times.
I don't know about that, but I mean, the law should be just, and the law, the Second Amendment says we have the right to bear arms, and arms meaning anything you can use as a weapon. That is the right to bear arms, and the right of a well-regulated militia. That's also in the Constitution. And
I believe when they wrote that, they were talking about just guns. Like, I'm pretty sure the right to bear arms doesn't mean you have the right to drones, tanks, shit like that.
Well, I mean, anything. I mean, like, the right to bear arms is anything you can use as a weapon. That's arms. And granted, the technology wasn't. Weapons technology is grown tremendously since then. But the fact that the police were unable to defend the town, and many believe because of the politics of the police, that regular citizens came in and decided to regulate and the belief is, hey, we're not going to give in to the mob. We're going to regulate. We're going to put down the mob. A lot of these mobs were going to people's neighborhoods and houses and shining lights on them. If I had that happen to me or other people, I think that they should have a right to say, you know, we're going to get a militia and we're going to be armed, and we're going to show up. And, you know, like if you go down our neighborhood and shine lights on us, we're going to show you our firearms. And if you're going to provoke us when we're sleeping, then, you know, we're going to stand strong against you. And I don't think that human beings should have to give in to the mob, ever. I don't know if you have an opinion on that.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of mobs either, but sometimes if trouble's going on, if you don't want trouble, you stay away. If you do, just go right ahead.
That's true. I mean, people either do three things with a mob. They either, well, four things actually. They either join the mob, they either flee from the mob, they can put their head down and just hope that they won't hurt them, or four, they can stand their ground and fight. And all of those are an option at times. But there is strong provisions in the Constitution for standing your ground and fighting against the mob in self-defense. There's a reason for that in the Constitution. The right to bear arms and the right to self-defense is very clear. And it's something that it feels like that we're losing today. And I also feel that we're losing the right to freedom of speech, because a lot of these groups were started online and had gained power online. And then the groups that try to fight against them are censored. So they're both controlling both the mental and the physical output.
Yeah, but the internet itself made it easier for people with the same ideals to find each other, and also weirdos to find each other online.
That's true.
So you have the internet to thank for all this.
And the weird ideas. I mean, we saw the normalization, you know, for the first time in our, you know, we really began to see the normalization of riots happening and a real turn towards mobocracy. And it's something that I don't want, and I would prefer. I mean, I'm giving my own opinion here, but I would prefer, if this is the way it's going to be and we have alternative realities and not shared truths, perhaps it's time for kind of a national divorce. I mean, a national divorce. Because if
Hell yeah.
If groups don't have a shared reality, you know, what's the point of being around a person that doesn't, this isn't pizza toppings where I can choose my own, with rights to justice and self-defense and right and wrong. There's no agree to disagree here. I think that
with some people there is, but not everyone's the same as you want to paint them, Brian.
Well, you seem to see things in a certain way that I personally do not, with regards to law and order and what is fair and what is just. We have different opinions on that.
Yeah, we do, but doesn't mean we can't agree to disagree sometimes, right?
I don't know. I mean, the right of self-defense, I said before, I'm a self-defense extremist. To me, if a person is aggressed upon, however the person who is aggressed upon responds cannot equal what the person, what the person that aggressed The person that assaulted, the person that threatened, the person who defends himself. To me, however he responds is fair game. The person who is aggressive doesn't get to draw the rules. If I don't want to fight,
I'm not personally against self-defense, but me personally, I'm not an extremist like you. I'm for self-defense if they attack me first. That's pretty much it. If you threaten me, I'll ignore your threat because I would believe it's empty, like most threats are.
Well, I mean, how about encroachment?
What do you mean by encroachment?
Encroachment means getting close.
Oh, so they're in my space, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, if I tell them to back off, or I personally retreat myself and they continue to follow me, I probably will have them follow me to a place where there's no people, and I will beat the fuck out of them. But that's me personally, because the guy is being a bit of a weirdo and a threat at that point.
Do you have the right to use further force?
What, take him in an alley and beat him? That's pretty much the only force I would use. And then I would leave after I was done.
What if the person was a better skilled fighter than you?
Then I would have to fight dirty. Or I'm screwed, either one.
Good God. Well,
personally, I'm a pacifist. I am fully against violence at any cost. Of course, self-defense being the exception. Step on my property and you're gonna have a problem. Interfere with my property, it's not going to be a good time.
Yeah, I would. I think sometimes fleeing is always one of the best options. But there comes a time when there's nowhere else to run, and you have to stand and fight. I mean, I think.
Well, self-preservation will kick in at that point.
Self-preservation.
Yeah, if they continue to follow you, that's when you do. That's when I would fight.
And I think
no longer worked.
I think Americans who think, like particularly conservative Americans, and what I consider to be logically reasoned Americans and even Europeans, I feel like that Willie, you're not coming back on because you
Willie deserves a chance, just like anybody else.
No.
Oh no, not that guy again. Oh God.
Willie already accused me. Willie already made some humor there that will go unnamed. I had to put both shows on private, and I'm not going to go there. But yeah, I mean, Trayvon Martin to me was a very unfortunate incident. The one thing is we have no video on that, so we don't know. There is no full story of what transpired, but there is some evidence. Like Rachel Gentile said she went by a name of Diamond Eugene, and it turns out there's strong evidence that wasn't. I mean, Rachel was not the one who was tweeting or talking to Trayvon, and there actually is a real Diamond Eugene. Anyway, and then with regards to Kyle Rittenhouse, we will see what exactly is going to go on with that case. I do believe that it is an open and shut case of self-defense. It seems very clear to me. Whether he should have been there or not, that's up for debate, and probably maybe he shouldn't have been there. But if people attack you, and you have a gun near you, do you have a right to use that? Do we give in to the mob? That's my belief. All right, so I'm going to end this show. The talent, Master of Rope. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, Brian His opinions are awful, and JP is handsome. Thank you.
Perfect response. But what a way to end the show. We can't really end on a better note than that. But
Joey, okay, I was going to say. Okay.
What?
Oh,
what?
Your
look, we're done. We're done. Thank you for calling in. Appreciate it. And that actually was a great conversation. We got a lot of compliments. So good job, Brian and the rope master.
Yeah.
That's all we got. Transparencymerit.com. Like, subscribe, and keep us in your wishes, because I have a feeling the show will be on the radar. I hope not. We said quite a bit. We said a lot here, and the main takeaway I have is I don't. People have sometimes said to me, "You can't change another person's mind." Okay, that's not what I'm here for, anyways. I would like people to, like I suggested to you, Brian. There's a lot of situations you can enter and be part of as an observer, but there are also, we have an opportunity here. We have a duty to question what we're given. We have a duty. Benjamin Franklin said that. We have a duty to question all authority. It's not. You're not being a bad. I hate it when people use. They have this kind of flag-toting mentality. It's like you're actually a better. You're a better man or woman for taking a deep, introspective look at what's going on around you. And it's okay to question even what you see when it comes to television and any media and that sort of thing. When you experience something, you don't really have the time to always have the time to kind of reflect and consider it. You're going to act, but it's certainly a good thing to ask questions and understand the difference between perceived reality and reality. So that's all I wanted to say there.
Well, like and subscribe, leave a comment down below. And again, before we leave, visit our website at transparencyandmerit.com.
What's up, Willie? What do you need, Willie?
We'll bring in him. Hey, Nick, you're looking good.
Nick. What's up, Nick?
So, yeah, these are interesting topics, and Joe, it is, Joe has an interesting take. I have I guess some people say a more inflammatory take than Joe. But
and some people just find all of this completely boring, and I get that. I'm with you. A lot of this stuff is boring because in my mind, I'm thinking the whole time, like, if you just took a deeper look at the roots, then I don't think you'd go down some of these paths. But I think you kind of take things at their face value, and I think you want to believe. That picture, I want to believe, with the UFO flying across it. I want to believe, and I don't. I want to know. I don't want to put a Band-Aid on cancer. I want to be able to find not just the remedy, Brian. I want to find the cure. And so unfortunately, a lot of these stories, they don't cut the mustard for me one bit. Something is stinky in Baskerville.
You might be, I don't know. I have my opinions on that, and the evidence will, in history and stuff is still being written. It's being rewritten, and we don't have a shared reality in this country right now. Not only a shared reality, but not only in this country, but in the world. We don't necessarily have a shared reality, particularly within the Anglo sphere.
We have but one reality, Brian. Sorry to tell you that.
Well, It's not shared if you believe it's real. Anyway, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Thank you for listening. Boo, boo, boo.